standing amidst the landscape covered by the meandering Krishna River and the green fields. This earth-born Bhumija temple makes us to surrender our existence as diverse sculptures with their invincible might, even defying the time, flock together to speak with us. The Kopeshwar temple at Khiderapur, 16 degrees 40 minutes north and 74 degrees 35 minutes east, is a small village in the Sirol Tehsil of Kolhapur district. Due to a horseshoe-shaped movement, Nalakar of the river Krishna, this village has got a religious importance parallel with its military prominence, evident through the inscriptions found in this temple. Khiderapur lies on the banks of Krishna river, about 12 miles southeast of Sirol. The Kopeshwar temple occupies central place in the village landscape. The construction of the Kopeshwar temple was started during the rule of the Silara king Gandharaditya, and the major part of it was completed by his successor Vijayaditya. After the fall of the Silara dynasty, their Yadava successors continued the donations to the temple as it manifests from the inscriptions of the king Singhana. This east-facing Kopeshwar temple with its sikaras, one row of Koot Stambhas measure 103 meters by 65 meters in dimensions. It consists of a Garbhagriha and Antarala, a Guha Mandapa and Mukh Mandapa. It looks star-shaped from outside. This east-facing Kopeshwar temple with its sikaras, one row of Koot Stambhas measure 103 meters by 65 meters in dimensions. It consists of a Garbhagriha and Antarala, a Guha Mandapa and Mukh Mandapa. It looks star-shaped from outside and is richly adorned with beautiful sculptures which became impressive due to their positioning in the shadow-light effect. The temple has beautiful carvings of deities, Surasundaris, musicians, dancers, etc. The temple icons represent variety of faiths like Shaivism, Vaishnavism, Shaktism, Ganpataya and Saura. Kolhapur district shows interesting variations in its landscapes and economic development. In its east lies the Sahyadri watershed region. On the eastern part of the Sahyadrian watershed, the landscape consists of residual hill ranges, plateaus with rounded peaks above the structural benches below. The eastern part of the hill ranges characterizes the landscape by river valleys. Khiderapur is located in a very fertile plain, receiving adequate rainfall. There is a confluence of two rivers nearby. The irrigation facilities and black cotton soil produce huge amount of sugarcane, tobacco, cotton, millets and wheat with various kinds of vegetables and fruit. In the Sirol Tehsil, Narsingwadi is a famous religious center. In Khiderapur, in addition to the Kopeshwara temple, there is also a Jain temple which is quite similar to it. There are many religious and historical monuments in this region. This temple was earlier studied by scholars like James Fleet in the year 1876, Henry Cowson 1926, K.G. Kudangar 1939, Mr. A.V. Nayak 1940, V.V. Mirashi 1974, G.B. Deglukar 1974, Jambedkar 2002, Velankar 2002 and Fokema in 2003. The main entrance to the temple is through a Nagarakhana, which might be later construction, as the pillars and the hero stones have been used in an assembled way. An image of Ganesha can be seen above the main entrance. 3 hero stones can be seen. Among them, one is at the south, consists of an inscription. An image of Yogeshwara Vishnu has also been noticed. Depiction of Vyalas can also be seen. The kings come and go, dynasties prosper and vanish. We, the present spectators, can sense and feel past only through the scattered remains, inscriptions, coins, artifacts and monuments. The architectural monuments we see today silently tell the saga of the mighty rulers and the common people who built them. They make us to listen to the sounds of the chisels of the carvers who spent their lives in creating them. Being the land of temples, India is very rich in architectural as well as sculptural wonders. The present Kopeshwar temple at Khiderapur provides an ample opportunity to decipher its meaning it acquired through the fluctuating period of important dynasties such as Silaras and the Yadavas, as the one dynasty which initiated its construction through the royal patronage, while other dynasties, after the power change, instrumentalized its economic transactions. The Silara rulers ruled over the different parts of Maharashtra. Their origin goes back to Jimutvahana, the son of Vidyadhar Nrupti Jimutketu. This beautiful temple called the Kopeshwar temple at Khiderapur is located at the banks of the Krishna river. Krishna river is at the boundary of Maharashtra and Karnataka. This beautiful temple was constructed by the Silaras, and as we can see, this is a very beautiful temple, and it has a very different type of main mandap where the pillars have been carved in a very unique manner. The carvings on the pillar reminds us of the various gears, mechanical gears, and the roof of this mandap also happens to be open to the sky. This is a rare temple where there is no roof at the top of the mandap. It is believed that this area might have been used for performing the yagnas, where the yagna fire and the smoke will not crowd the temple and will go out through the open pillars and the top roof. Others think that this mandap has been created because certain astronomical measurements were made. Dwar Shakha. Surprisingly, the Dwar Shakha is very simple as compared to the other temples of Maharashtra. It is of Panch Dwar Shakha type and consists of one Vel Shakha and four Stambha Shakhas. Besides, the Mandarka part of the door is also not very much prominent. Two earth stambhas are present on each side of the door. The Lalita Bimba depicts the Gajalakshmi, which is very simple, and two-handed seated in Padmasana. There are 5 miniature shrines on the Uttaranga part with depiction of geometrical motifs and floral designs instead of any deities. Chandrashila of the temple are profusely decorated with conch shell and flower motif. Antrala is a large closed space from Garbhagriha to the Guda Mandapa, which is square on plan. It has 2 pilasters on both sides and 3 life-size images depicted on each side. The Guda Mandapa of the Kopeshwar temple. It is square on plan, very simple and plain. It consists of 32 pillars and 28 pilasters. 12 pillars stand on the square platform, while rest 20 pillars stand around it. Here we can find multiple columns, and these columns have been arranged in a circular fashion. The construction of these columns is all different and very unique to this particular temple. Such type of pillars are normally not found elsewhere, either in Maharashtra or in many of the southern states. Here in front we can see a Chandrashila at the floor, which is looking very beautiful. The face and the hands of these images are mutilated. Antarala was originally flung by 2 massive Dwarpalas, out of which the left Dwarpala is intact, while the right Dwarpala is completely mutilated into 2 pieces and placed out of the southern door of the Guda Mandapa. A broken mace can be seen in the lower right hand of Dwarpala stationed at the outside. Both the Dwarpalas are remarkably similar in their decorative and ornamentation pattern. They both are wearing highly ornamented Karanda Mukata accompanied by very rich and minutely carved jewelry. Their drapery is also remarkable. An inscription can be also seen on the northern wall of the Antarala. Here the image of the Dwarpal has been made very beautifully and artistically. The garlands and the ornamentation of this statue is very beautiful, and the Dwarpal is shown as a very healthy and a muscular figure. The waistbands and the ornamentation at the waist is very beautiful, and when we have a closer look, it appears that various jewels and precious stones have been used. At present, only the Dwarpal on the right side is available. The statue of the Dwarpal on the left side is broken and lies at a door nearby, where the Shilalekh or the stone inscription by the Silara king is written in the Devanagari script. Here we can find a very beautiful mace which has been carved very beautifully, and the anklets in the feet are also made very beautiful. We can see that the Dwarpal is wearing a payal. survived through these ravages of war and the destruction through the times, this temple stands still today amid serene environment and echoes the memory of its hoary past. This temple is constructed in the Bhumija style of temple architecture. This style originated in Malwa as a variation of the Nagara. Bhumija style was extensive in the space and time and reached up to Gujarat and Maharashtra in the early medieval India. In the rest of India, when the temple architecture was at its zenith, Bhumija style retained its distinctiveness more than 3 centuries. The Kopeshwar temple is the most notable example of Bhumija style, which is situated in Khiderapur. Khiderapur is 65 kilometers southeast of Kolhapur and is an excellent piece of Silara architecture. The temple consists of a Mukh Mandapa, a Goda Mandapa, an Antarala, and a Garbhagriha. It is surrounded by modern prakaras, the Adi Sthana, adorned with rectilinear moldings of Upana with a creeper decoration. The Vedi Bandha is prominent. The upper corners of the Upana are rounded. The Adi Sthana part mainly consists of Gajadhara, in which 92 massive, elegant elephants have been depicted with deity. According to the scholars, the temple complex stands on the plinth nearly 5 feet in height, which is however buried underground. In the present, only one row of Kutastambha and 3 Surasena and Shikhara can be seen, but a new tower of bricks has been erected in the later period. With the absence of Shikhara, the Kopeshwar temple shows some distinct variations like open Mukh Mandapa, huge Gajadhara, which distinguishes it from the Bhumija temples. It shows an influence of various regional styles like Yadvas, Hoysalas, Kadambas, and Chalukya. The temple consists of a Mukh Mandapa, a Goda Mandapa, an Antarala, and a Garbhagriha. It is surrounded by modern prakaras. According to the scholars, the temple complex stands on the plinth nearly 5 feet in height, which is however buried underground. In the present, only one row of Kutastambha and 3 Surasena and Shikhara can be seen, but a new tower of bricks has been erected in the later period. With the absence of Shikhara, the Kopeshwar temple shows some distinct variations like open Mukh Mandapa, huge Gajadhara, which distinguishes it from the Bhumija temples. It shows an influence of various regional styles like Yadvas, Hoysalas, Kadambas, and Chalukya. Woman symbolizes beauty, mystery, and love. Her creation power gives her the status of Adi Shakti. Though delicate, she is strong at heart, determined, and able to transverse the world. Being a mother, sister, consort, beloved, and maiden, she gives the meaning to his existence. For a man, she remains a question unanswered even after his every effort. Her beauty, charm, and ability have lived countless generations, and as a result, her depiction not only found in the myriads of literature but also in the stone temples was made singing her praise. In the stupendous and magna opus temple construction of the early medieval period, the architectural complexes were being more and more decorated, adorned with the galaxy of images, sculptures, and minute carvings. Interpreting nature and life, they tried to portray a concrete picture of common people, their activities, feelings, and further, the human mind. Their inspirations came from everyday life, so that the scenes and the sculptures manifest the emotions of the common man, though they look divine. The depiction of Sursundaris is too a part of this wide matrix. Sursundaris is a creation of Silpa Shastra. As the home is lifeless without a woman, an edifice is incomplete if there is an absence of woman. Where the temple was considered as the dwelling of God, the presence of Sursundaris was obvious for the provision of the Rangashala and the Rangabhoga. They are blessed with beauty, charm, and expertise in dance and music. They ornate the architectural parts of the temple like the Bhadras, Shikharas, or Mukshalas with various poses and gesticulations. Various types of Sursundaris have been described in Shilp Shastra as well as in other treatises, who are busy in dancing, playing musical instruments, fondling a baby, and engaged in various beautifying themselves. The concept of Sursundari seems parallel to the concept of Apsaras. The dictionary meaning of Sursundari is a celestial woman. They were celestial, not terrestrial, thus placed on the upper parts of the temple and never depicted near the earth. It is a confluence of heavenly females and Shaktis described in literature. Though they do not belong to the earthly world, their depiction is like a common woman. This was an attempt to connect the heavenly parable with the earthly reality. Various types of Sursundaris have been depicted on the Kopeshwar temple. They are on the Jangha as well as on the Adhisthana. Some Sursundaris are in the Antarala and Garbhagriha also. They are depicted on the pillars also. The dominant categories which Sursundaris represent are mainly Putravallabha, Gudashabda, Padmanitra, Darpana, Marichika, Nupurpadika, Patralekhika, Jaya, Minaka, Manini, Chamara, Chandravali, Mardala, Padmagandha, Karpur Manjiri, Torna, Alsa, Bhavachandra, Chandravaktra Uttana, Nartaki, Manavi, Woman and Monkey, Woman and Snake. Many sculptures are in mutilated state, especially their faces and hands, and are broken, and it is very difficult to identify them. These Sursundaris show considerable variations in their costume and ornamentation. Their postures are eye-catching, movements are free, and show remarkable variations in them. Putra Vallabha. An image of Putra Vallabha can be seen on the northwestern part of the Jangha. It is at 160th position. She is standing in Ardhasama pose and holding a baby in her left arm. Right hand is on the top of her head holding a bunch of mangoes. Her right hand and the mango branch are arranged in such a way so that the child could get shade. Her sight is shown towards her baby. She is adorned with Karankundala, Haras, Stanbandhana, Vayala, Bahuvayala, Nikhala and Nupuras. Though finely carved, the sculpture is weathered, especially the child in her arm and the mango branch are not very clear. The sculpture has got holes on it due to erosion, but the affection of the mother for her child is reflected through it. The next is Gudashabda Padmanitra. Two images of Gudashabda Padmanitra have been carved on the Kopeshwar temple. One is on the southwestern part of the 49th position of the Jangha. She is depicted in Ardhasama, keeping her right hand on the head of her child. The hand seems to be in Abhay Mudra. A tassel is dangling from her fingers. A very finely carved sculpture seems more like a divine mother. An aura can also be seen behind her, wearing Karandamukuta, Karnakandala, Haras, Stanabandhana, Valayas, Bahuvalaya, Mikhala and Nupura. She can be said to be a well-preserved and still shining with its original glaze. And then another image of Gudashabda Padmanitra can be seen at 137th position. This weathered image has depicted in a standing position. Her right hand is kept on the head of the child who is standing at her right, and a lotus bud in her left hand. She is adorned with all ornamentation. The next is Darpana. 4 images of Darpana have been carved on the Kopeshwar temple. The first Darpana is depicted on the southern western part of the Adhisthana, between the 15th and the 16th elephant from the Pradakshina path. It is shown holding a mirror in the left hand near the breast, while her right hand is touching her hairdo. Her left leg is crossing her right one. The sculpture is highly ornate with Karankundalas, Hara, Stanbandha, Mukta Pralamba necklace, Valayas, Bahuvalaya, Mikhala and Nupuras. Especially her Mikhala, Stanbandha and hairdo are very prominent. Another Darpana is on the southwestern part of the Jangha at the 71st position. A different kind of figure who is in a dancing pose with a mirror in the right hand near waist and left hand is suspended in the air above her head. Surprisingly, she is wearing no ornaments and her robe is so diaphanous that it can only be imagined by seeing its lace on her shoulders and thighs. The left leg is mutilated. Another image of Darpana is on the northwestern part of the Jangha at the 180th position. It is depicted holding a mirror in her left hand and the right hand is adjusting the hair. She has kept her right leg across the left leg. Her ornaments, especially the Karan Kundala, Haras, Stanabandhas, Valayas, Bahuvalaya, Mikhala and Nupuras are prominent and carved finely. The next image of Darpana is at the 54th position of the Jangha. It is depicted holding a mirror in her left hand and her right hand is touching her hair. Though both her hands are mutilated, we can only identify the image through their positions. She has kept her right leg across the left leg. She is ornamented and the carving is very beautiful. The next is Marichika. The only image of Marichika is on the northwestern part of the Jangha at the 84th position. Standing on the left leg, she has folded her right leg in knee. The bow is in her stretched left hand on the top and the right hand is posed near the ear. There is such a force shown in her actions that the arrow has just discharged from her bow. Her sharp features, curves of the body have been carved out realistically. The pace in her movements is too enough and fierce for the enemy. The act of taking the head behind impresses her swelling breast. She wears Karan Kundalas and various other ornamentations. Her elaborate hairdo stresses the skill of the carver. The next one is Nupur Padika. Two images of Nupur Padika have been carved on the Kopeshwar temple, depicted on the southwestern part of the Jangha at the 75th position. This image is unique in its own. She is standing on the right leg, tying the Nupura on her left leg, which is folded. One end of its string is in her right hand, and the another end might have been in the left hand, which is mutilated. The left leg is also harmed, but the foot is still visible with its Nupura. She is adorned with fine hairdo and various ornamentation. Another image of Nupur Padika can be seen in the northwestern part of the Adhisthana between the 64th and the 65th elephants in the Gajadhara. The sculpture is very much ornate with an elaborate hairdo and various other ornamentation. She is standing with a stress on her right leg with left leg folded. Both her hands are busy in pulling the strings of the Nupura and tying it to the left foot. The facial expressions of the image are remarkable, as if she is getting ready to dance. Patra Lekhika. Three beautiful sculptures of Patra Lekhika have been depicted on the temple. First is on the northwestern part of the Jangha at the 82nd position. She is standing in Ardh Shama. Her left hand is busy in holding the board which is placed above her head. She is writing with the right hand, which is now mutilated. Her loosely tied hair is rested on her back. She is wearing different ornamentations. The carver has succeeded in showing her agitation through her expression and postures. Another sculpture of Patra Lekhika is on the same part of the Jangha at the position of 100. It is depicted in slightly different manner. She stands at ease with her right leg bent. Her left leg is resting on the waist. She is writing with the right hand on the board, which is again placed above her head. In such a pose, the contours of her body make her more deliberate. She is wearing various ornamentations, and the loosely tied hair add charm to her beauty. The last figure of Patra Lekhika is carved on the northwestern part of the Adhisthana between the 71st and the 72nd elephant. It is similar to the earlier ones, still it shows its own distinguishing features. She stands on the left leg. She has folded her right leg slightly. She is holding the board with her left hand above her head and waiting on it with the right hand, writing on it with the right hand. Her ornaments are very beautiful. Her loose hair lock is resting on her back. The next Sursundari is the Jaya. There are two beautiful images of Jaya. One is on the northwest part of the Adhisthana between the 65th and the 66th elephant from the Pradakshina path. The image in the Gajadhara is standing in a standing position, holding lotus bud in the right hand and the pot in her left hand. She is wearing different ornaments. Her three-stringed thick Rebecca makes her prominent breasts more attractive. Her loose hairdo and the style of holding the pot makes her more delicate and luxurious. Another image on the southern part of the Jangha is at the 64th position, which holds two pots, one above the other in her right hand. Her left hand is kept in ease downwards. She leans towards her left to balance the heavy pots. She is wearing various ornamentations. Her posture looks very realistic. The next Sursundari is Menaka. There are two beautiful images of Menaka. One is depicted between the 42nd and the 43rd elephant of the Adhisthana. She is in the dancing pose with left leg folded. She holds a sword in her right hand. Left hand is kept near the waist. Though her left hand, right hand and some parts of the objects are broken, she makes us feel her energy and strength besides her charm. Another sculpture of Menaka is carved on the southwestern part of the Jangha at the 52nd position. Although due to the mutilated hands and legs, it is difficult to identify the image, it can be guessed as Menaka. She is depicted in the dancing pose with right leg folded above the head. The upper corners of the Upana are rounded. The Adhisthana part mainly consists of Gajadhara, in which 92 massive, elegant elephants have been depicted with deities, ascetics, and human figures riding on them. The elephants are well carved, adorned with beautiful forehead ornaments and necklaces. Some of them can be seen holding certain objects like mango branches or flowers, leaves in the trunks, whereas sometimes the deities are depicted playing in the trunks near their foreleg. Most of the elephant trunks and legs have been mutilated. The Jangha bears a variety of sculptures of gods, goddesses and sundaris. The Mandovara is rich in sculptures of susundaris and human figures, though the Bhadra consists large depictions of Shiva, Ganesh, Vishnu, Brahma, Bhairavi, Saraswati, Mahisasur Mardari and Chamunda. Miniature sculptures have been depicted on the Chhajja. On the three sides of the exterior walls of the Garbhagriha, there are deep Devkoshtas with pilaster doors. Shaiva deities. The representation of Shiva and his various iconographic forms have been much favored in Kopeshwar temple because of its affiliation to the worship of Shiva. The god Shiva is represented in various iconographic forms like Kevala Shiva, Natraja, Bhairava, Bhiksatna Shiva, Umamaheshwari, Harihara, and Ardhanarishwara. Image of Kevala Shiva, the normal form of Shiva, are depicted on the Gajadhara of the Adi Sthana, on the topmost layer of the Janga, on the pillar of the Guha Mandapa, and on the lintel of the Devkoshtha, on the Bhadra of the Mool Prasada. There are 27 images of Kevala Shiva in this temple. Riding on the 56th elephant from the Pradakshina path in the Gajadhara, the Shiva is depicted in the carvings on these temples are very beautiful, and here we find a foreigner who is wearing high heel sandals, and his tunic is very different from the type of clothes which are normally worn by the Indians. This is a closer look of the tunic and the dress. This dress has been made out of stone and is very beautiful. There was another image of an ascetic where we find that he looks somewhat like a Mongoloid. He has Mongoloid features. Here we find various lords, gods and goddesses and various deities which have been made. This particular temple has 92 elephants. The elephants have been carved very beautifully, and over each elephant we will find one god or another god or a goddess sitting. Here we can find Lord Brahma sitting on the elephant, and as we move further we find many apsaras and sursundaris which have been carved very beautifully. The various goddesses and the consorts of the gods are also shown riding the elephant, and between each elephant we find certain sursundaris which have been carved. Unfortunately, the trunk of most of the elephants and their legs have been broken down. This is probably Lord Buddha which has been made on the panel, and in this temple we also found the depiction of the Dashavataras or the 10 incarnations of Lord Vishnu. So this was all about the beautiful Kopeshwar temple located at Khiderapur in the district of Kolhapur in the state of Maharashtra, India. We had already made 2 smaller videos earlier, and we were trying to make the part 3, but because of lack of time we were not able to do justice to this particular job. This is a very unique temple, and if you are coming to Maharashtra and particularly to the southern part of Maharashtra, do make a plan and visit Kolhapur and visit this place called Khiderapur. Khiderapur is a remote place, and going there by road is a bit difficult because the condition of the roads is not very good. However, a visit to this temple is worthwhile, and this is a temple which is normally not on the tourist map of most of the tourists. However, if you come here and witness the magic of our ancient forefathers who created magic in stone, then this is one temple waiting for you.
Thank you.